I just turned my G87 M2 into an M4CSL. Okay, maybe not entirely, but I did flash in the gearbox, the differential, and the steering from the M4CSL. Big thank you to my friends over at Define Coating for flashing in all of the M4CSL characteristics into my G87 M2. Now, I have not taken this thing for a proper drive yet. We are just right down the road from my house. I've left it in comfort mode until this point, but we're gonna get inside this car. I'm gonna give you my first reactions of driving this car with the M4CSL differential, gearbox, and steering dynamics. If you're interested in having the CSL dynamics flash into your G80, G82, or G87, I'll have all of their information linked down below. Let's get in the car and go for a ride. All right, guys, so we are in the G87 and we're about to go for a drive. Now, I do have to admit, I lied a little bit. I already felt the heaviness of the steering. Even from the drive just from my house, we're only a mile away from my house. Feels nice. It's a lot better. One of the most common complaints with these cars is that they just feel a little bit soft. The steering in general just doesn't have much feeling in comparison to the older cars, obviously because of all the electronics. But I will say flashing in those CSL characteristics makes a huge difference. All right, so we are in M2 MDM mode, and we're gonna see what this thing feels like, man. I'm excited. Heard really good things. I saw the friends over at Evolve, Imran and them also did this flash. This flash only took 5 minutes. It was really, really easy. I mean, they had it done super quick. In my opinion, this is definitely gonna be a must-have upgrade for any G8X that isn't a CSL. BMW does a lot of little things to make these cars drive better and better, especially when they introduce models like the CS and the CSL. And if there's anything that we can do outside of hardware, like just electronics and flashing to make it that much closer to the CSL, it's gonna drive better. There's a reason that those cars are the CSs and the CSLs. So we're gonna feel that the shifting is going to be much more harsh and firm and fast in comparison to the stock shifting. To be honest with you, I already feel that. It's immediate. And then we have a bit more slip, which is definitely the case. So, you can already tell the car is just more playful. For me personally, the most noticeable right off the bat is the steering and the gearing. These shifts are really, really nice. They are firm, they are fast, they are stiff, and they feel incredible. We have a speed bump here the size of a wall. What the fuck are you doing? Someone tried to pass me on a speed bump. You out of your mind, little buddy. So what we can expect from the diff, you're gonna get a little bit more slip out of it. Obviously from the gearing, you're gonna get harsher shifts, you're gonna get faster shifts, and the steering is already heavier, which, dude, makes a huge difference in these cars. You can just hear the shifting. I mean, it's so much faster. Now the next level up from this would be like an XHP flash, which I might end up doing in the future, especially if we go down the road of Femto unlocking and increasing power. You kind of have to do that. I mean, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to just do the XHP flash for the trans. But listen, if you're just looking for simple upgrades and you're trying to keep this easy and you don't want to go through, you know, XHP and pay a bunch of money, this is a really good option. For most people, they just want to keep it OEM. And that's the best part about this flash. Everything is OEM. Oh, the steering is so much better. So much more direct. And the shifting, you guys hear those shifts? A lot faster. The car just has more playfulness to it. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Feels like a little bit more reckless, if you will. The steering is great.
there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they don't want to go down the road of Femto unlocking their brand new car. They don't want to have to do an XHP transmission flash. This is going to be perfect for them. And I would actually say that this is probably the majority of G8X owners, because it's the safe bet. You know, you don't really have to worry about much if you go this route. And you're still going to get like all of the great characteristics of the iconic CSL cars without, you know, risking anything. Oh man, the steering is so good, you guys. It's fantastic. The way that this car responds to this is just, oh man. The springs on this car, even the spacers with this flashing and everything, this kit is phenomenal. You know, and you don't have to spend a ton of money to do stuff like this to get really good driving characteristics out of these cars. I mean, these cars already handle so good from factory, so you're really just improving it ever so slightly, but it's enough that you notice. In Emron's video, if you guys watched that video, you know, they replaced a lot of hardware components like the knuckles and the motor mounts and the diff mount. These things are expensive. I mean, anything on the M4CSL, you are going to be paying a lot of money. Not everyone's going to be able to spend that kind of money on their G87. And I'd say hardly any, if all, are going to spend that kind of money on their G87. So for a few $100, I mean, this is a great way to get some of it without having to spend all of the cheddar to get all of it. You know what I mean? Without all of the hardware. I mean, this is just enough to get you sort of in that ballpark. But that little bit of slip, that little bit of extra slip that it gives you it's nice. It's nice, man. It makes the car so much more playful. So yeah, first impressions, man, this feels great. I definitely want to live with it a little bit more and have a bit more fun with it. I think, you know, where you're really going to be able to experience these benefits is on something like a track where you can obviously get more into the car and into the speed. But even on just like my local roads, I can feel the difference. It just brings a bit more characteristic back to the feeling, the overall feeling of the car. And I think it's worth it for a few $100. It's so good. So good. So I'm back in comfort now, and even the steering in comfort mode, while it is more relaxed, it still has a bit of a heavier feel to it. So a lot of these CSL flashing dynamics still apply to every mode that you're in. So if the CSL has a softer steering or gearing or shifting or diff in comfort versus sport, it's going to do the same thing in the car that you flash, which is nice. So it literally is going to react like a CSL, minus obviously all of the expensive hardware that you would have to replace for it to really be a CSL. And if you guys are interested in getting this CSL package for your G80, G82, or even G87, I'll have it linked down below. It's actually available on my website right now. You do want to make sure that you have a PC laptop and you also have a connection cable for the car to communicate with the computer. I'm going to leave a link down below for the correct cable as well. But if you have all of those things, they're going to ask you to download TeamViewer onto your computer. They're going to remotely access your computer, and then they'll be able to access your car and flash in the CSL package. Like I said, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes. It's really, really easy. And if you want to make changes, you just let them know after the fact and they can take care of you.
All right, you guys, we are back from the first drive with the CS and CSL package flashed into my G87 M2. What a world of difference. Sometimes you forget how something so simple can make such a big impact on these cars. Being that everything is electronic, you know, sometimes we complain about that, but sometimes it's a blessing because you can do things like this and it's so simple. This is definitely something that I would recommend all G8X owners do. You're just going to get the most out of the experience with the car. And if you feel like the CSL CSL is too much for any of these, go ahead and flash in the CS. That might be a little bit better for you. Me personally, I'm definitely flashing in that CSL steering. The CS is nice, but I want a little bit more. Everything else though, perfect. I'm not gonna change a thing. It's exactly how I would have wanted it. And we now officially have a G87 CSL. How cool is that? Maybe not the real thing, but hey, it's close enough, right? Like I said before, you guys, this package is available on my website. I'm gonna have it linked down below. Big shout out to the guys over at Define Coating for flashing it in, and big shout out to you guys for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.